The first guest on the first episode is going to be Lawrence from Dublin. Lawrence is co-founder of the Bitcoin Ireland conference. And so he's given up some of his time to come and chat to us about a bit of his background, how he found Bitcoin. I think it was 2020. And then just chat a bit about how did the Bitcoin Ireland conference come about.
Yeah, thanks, Connor. Thanks for having me on. How I found Bitcoin. Well, I heard about Bitcoin years and years ago. And my friend's brother used to be in the house, and he used to be buying Bitcoin online years ago when it was like $30. Yeah. And they were younger than us, a few years younger. And he was just buying it and playing around it and just messing around on the internet. And he said to me loads of times, Lawrence, you're not giving me a couple of $100 and I buy some of this Bitcoin, you can put it away. Sure. We didn't do our work, did we? We didn't know what it was. And then time went on and I kept on hearing about it. And like a lot of people just keep on hearing about Bitcoin, but I never done my homework. And as we say in the game, now you don't do your homework. Everybody pays the price that they deserve once they do their homework for the Bitcoin. 2020, what happened? The big C came along, and I was involved in special events and event management for nearly 25 years. I had one of the biggest event management companies in Ireland, and we used to do a lot of the outdoor events and festivals and loads of different outdoor events. You name it, I managed it. I was at it, working at it in some capacity. And in 2020, the government closed us down. Just overnight, like the way they closed a lot of businesses down. But the events business was hurt a lot worse than other businesses. Yeah. And we were more or less closed down for special events for about 18 months. Luckily for me, though, I had an IT business and I kind of transitioned back into that. And we all started working remotely. And I just started digging. It gave me a bit more time. I thought I had freedom before when I had my special events business and I was driving around and meeting people and going and doing deals all over the country. But I only truly realized what freedom was around 2022. Yeah. And I found out about Bitcoin. I went back in, started learning about it.
So you were saying there when you first heard about this, it was $30. And you had people telling you, spend some money on this. And that's unbelievable. Like, think if you had to just listen to those people. Like when I started out, I suppose now when I think, I wish I had somebody, to tell me the first time that I heard about Bitcoin, if I had had somebody that says, I know a little bit about this, you should maybe buy some. Like where I would be now is unbelievable. But like you said, everybody gets it at the price they deserve, don't they? It takes a lot of study, a lot of time, and you have to be curious. Yeah, I think people have to be in a position where they need Bitcoin. Because if you don't need it, you're not going to look at it. You're not going to go down the rabbit hole. Or like you said, you had COVID and all that stuff shut down your business, so you had time and you started looking for something. And I think that's a big problem today is people don't realize that they need Bitcoin because they don't see what's happening under their nose, and they don't see what's coming. And if you try to speak to them about it, they just don't believe you because people are still stuck in that. They're kind of programmed, aren't they? So they kind of think, well, the government wouldn't be doing this or the government wouldn't be doing that. And you try to tell them about this, maybe you want to invest in Bitcoin for your security, and they just think, no, why would I do that? They don't see what's coming. And it's very hard because when it improves your own life, you want to help other people, don't you? And people just kind of get caught off guard. They're like, why are you so interested in what I'm doing? Why do you want to help me so much? I think people find it difficult when somebody's trying to help them. They don't really think you're being genuine,
Yeah, Bitcoin's on a need to know basis. Most people think they don't need to know, but they actually really do need to know.
Yeah.
They don't get it yet. Yeah, and they can't see what's coming in the future. Yeah, like what we can see. Yeah, because before I started looking at all this, I really used to just live in my micro environment. Yeah, I used to just be worried about what's going on around me. But now I study more the macro. Yeah, macro finances and geopolitics. What's going on around? Yeah.
Yeah. When Bitcoiners say, like you see a lot on social media, and even if you're not a Bitcoiner, you'll see a lot of people sharing content or my friends would see me sharing a lot of content, and usually I would have underneath it, maybe Bitcoin fixes this or study Bitcoin. And they're probably thinking, what does study Bitcoin mean? And for me, it's the study of economics, the financial system, politics, philosophy, even religion. It's a study of everything. Like the more you look at it, it's insane. I sometimes take a break from it, thinking I know too much, but then I come back to it. That's kind of why I want to do this podcast, is because I just want to speak to people who are a bit further along the path than me that I can learn from. You know, um, and
Yeah, no, you're right there. Yeah, definitely. It's
yeah,
true what you're
and
saying.
I know you have your own podcast as well with some brilliant guests. And on there you say, you're trying to educate people on what's coming and how to protect their family. And I had a conversation with you before, and I was saying I was frustrated because I was trying to tell people, my friends and family, about this, and I was trying to talk to them about Bitcoin, probably because the price action that was happening. And people were coming to me and saying, "What do you think about this? Should I buy? Should I not buy? What about Bitcoin? What about XRP?" And I was trying to talk to them about the basics, and it just became really monotonous for me. But I was saying to you, I was like, I'm getting frustrated trying to tell these people about Bitcoin, and you said to me, "Well, I don't talk to people about Bitcoin anymore. I talk to them about the problems that are coming." If you want to tell us a bit about what is coming and how do we protect our families from what is coming?
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? I have a little slide deck here. I'm going to show you.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, so
Yeah,
all your viewers can have a look at it, and they might get a little bit more of an understanding about what's
yeah,
happening. Uh,
perfect.
we're going to talk a little bit about what is money. Okay, and let me just pull it up here. It's a little slide deck. What is money? What is coming? And how to protect your family and your business from inflation. Um, Again, I always tell people I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. I'm actually a data analyst and a strategist. Yeah. So we talk about what is money. Yeah. Is it coins? Is it notes? Is it plastic cards? Is it gold bars? Or is it an animal? Years ago, people used to barter. They used to use that as a money. Yeah. Um, did you ever really think about what it was? Most people don't. Most people will go through their whole life and they will spend from 60 to 80,000 hours in their life, yeah, working and getting compensated in something called currency. Yeah, that's what it is. It's called fiat currency, what we get compensated in. It's not actually a money. It's just an illusion that it is a money or a hard money. It's actually a fiat currency. So most people haven't even thought about that. And most people haven't done even 20 or 30 hours worth of work on what they are getting compensated on. Yeah. So I think people need to go back a little bit and do a little bit of work on what is money. To me, money is a technology that we use to trade value with each other. Yeah. And I use my time and my energy and I get compensated. I thought it was in money, but it's actually currency. People need to listen and understand the words that they use. Right? So money is a technology. That's what it is. And as we transition, we've had different forms of money the last hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. Yeah. We started off with a primitive type of money from tools and shells, and salt was used as a money, commodities, barleys, vegetables, all that was used as a money before. Then we transitioned into monetary metals, from the Bronze Age into the silver, into gold coins. Yeah. And have people actually realize the path of money that we've had the last couple of thousand years? Most people don't. Yeah. This is a graph here of the different, uh, throughout money and throughout history, the concept of and form of money has undergone significant evaluation, from a barter system to shells and salts to metals, minted coins, silver, uh, gold, and copper coins. Then we moved on to the gold standard. In 1971, we had government money, fiat based currency, where they took away the backing of the gold. In 1971, President Nixon took away the backing of the gold from the money. And a few years after that, that's when all our problems really started. Because when you think back years ago in the 1970s or 80s, Our parents were probably buying a 3-bedroom house for 3,000 punts. What are they paying now? 350,000. Like,
That's
think
cheap.
about it.
Cheap.
You know. So where are we going in the future? That's the thing. Most people don't realize where we're actually going in the future. Very, very soon, people are going to start learning about this new type of money that's coming. It's going to be the digital euro and the digital pound. I've been tracking this for the last 2 years, and I understand exactly where we're going. Some people we're thinking first, when I was saying this in 2022, it was going to be 10 or 20 years before fiat currency was gone. But I don't think so. And we have evidence now that it's going to be sooner rather than later. Yeah. What most people don't realize as well, the digital euro is going to be launched this year in October in the Eurozone. And people need to start learning, yeah, about how this new programmable money could have could control aspects of your life in the future.
Yeah, yeah. My understanding of a central bank digital currency or CBCD is it is total control. It gives the central bank total control of your life. Like when I first heard about this, I thought this is too tinfoil hat. This is too too conspiracy theory for me. But it seems like you said I've seen a thing. It's coming. It's like the European Central Bank are trying to roll this out. The first time I realized that it was real was a statement by the Bank of England, the Central Bank of England, had said that this is what they wanted programmable money, and this just under people's noses. And now you see that the central bank, the European Central Bank, are talking about rolling it out this year. And we've already seen what's happening in China with the social credit system. Like it's completely crazy. If I try to talk to people about this or about Bitcoin, they'll say, "Well, sure, Bitcoin's just digital money," and then I have to try and explain to them they'll say, "Well, sure, Bitcoin's digital money, and if it's so great, why don't we trust the government's own digital money? Because the government surely will be wanting to look after us. So I don't really trust or understand Bitcoin. So if you think digital money's good, I'll go with this central bank digital currency because that's that's going to be trustworthy." So try and explain to them that the CBCD is total control, whereas Bitcoin is complete freedom. That's kind of where I lose people because they're just interested in the buying a bit, watching the price go up, and then they'll sell for fiat, which you and me both know fiat isn't worth the paper it's printed on. The streets are going to be awash with fiat currency at a certain time in the future. Like what was it, the Weimar Republic, where I think the money was debased. They were printing that much money, the money was debased so badly that by the time people left their house to buy a cup of coffee, they needed a wheelbarrow by the time they got to the coffee shop because the money had devalued that much. They needed more and more of it to buy one cup of coffee.
Yeah, you're right. Well, it's happening all over the world at the moment. Just because it's not happening in Europe, it's happening down in South American countries, African countries, Asian countries.
Yeah,
Depends where you're living and how much they devaluing per year.
yeah,
Or how much money they're printing per year. But we're going to get into this in this slide. Yeah. So it is something there about the 3 use cases of money. People would have a good time there to look at it then. It should be a good store of value. It should have to be a good medium of exchange, and it has to be a unit of account. Yeah. And that's one of the 3 main uses for money. Yeah. That's what it has to have. Another thing that most people don't realize is what is the cost of money? People, 99.99% of the people have not heard about a thing called the cost of money. What the cost of money is, how you make that up, is from how you come up with the number, is from the amount of money that was printed last year, okay, by the European Central Bank and printed consecutively every year for 10 years in a row, going back. All right. So from 2008 to 2019, we were printing approximately between 7 and 10% every year on year, more currency. So think about this. All the currency that was created the last 100 years, every year, they're creating an extra 7 or 10%. So let's just say it's 8% on average, okay, every year. Then you put on inflation on top of it. So people can come up with their own numbers for inflation. We're hearing the news that they're trying to get it down to 2%, 2%, 2%. Okay. If you tell a lie long enough, people will start believing that. And I think a lot of people are believing that now already. But when you go to the petrol station, or when you go and top up your oil tank, or you're paying for your electricity or your gas, yeah, it's not going up 2%. Yeah. Think yourself how much it is going up. Yeah. Let's just say it's going up 5%. Yeah. On average every year. So what you do is you add 8 plus 5, which is 13%. So for every person watching this, your Zoom right now and your recording, if you have currency in your pocket or on your bank account, it's costing you 13% per year before you do anything. Right? That's to have the privilege to use sterling or the euro or the dollar. Yeah, it's around 13%. So here's the thing. If you have a business or if you're working somewhere, you need to be growing by a minimum of 20% every year the last 10 years, or else you're drowning. And that goes for all the assets that you have as well, whether it's property, whether it's silver, whether it's gold, whether if it's cash in the bank. So people need to run the numbers and wake up to what's going on and run the numbers properly. Not 1 year, not 2 years, but go back 10 years. See how much your property has been going up, your investment properties and whatever you have, your stocks, your bonds, your shares, anything. They need to be growing by 20% a year, year on year. A lot of people are going to get a very, very big shock when they realize they're not growing anywhere. Yeah. I ran the numbers. Property for the last 10 years was going up about 8% approximately per year. So people might think they're doing okay, but they're actually not. They're actually drowning, holding property. Another thing people have to look into as well is about the cost of money plus interest. When you borrow money, you put interest on top of it. Let's just say interest is at 5%. Now you're up to 18%. Most people are paying more than 5% interest currently. So if you're borrowing money, you're in a business, you have to add in the cost of money, the money supply, the inflation, plus the interest that you're borrowing for. So turns out you probably have to be growing by 25% a year because you're borrowing the money. In the last 4 years, I haven't come across any business that's growing, or any person or man or woman that's growing their business by 25% a year, every year, year on year, or giving themselves a rise of 25% a year, or even 20% a year. Nobody's doing it. So the bottom line is everybody's drowning. They just don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. People can feel the squeeze. I don't know anybody that doesn't feel the squeeze. And they'll blame all sorts of things and they'll say, oh, it's the prices going up. And I even had this conversation earlier with my wife. She was saying her family were talking about the price of olive oil. And her parents were saying that the price of everything is just going up. And I was able to say to her, it's not, the price of everything is not going up. It's the value of the money is going down. That's what's happening here. It's not your local supermarket that's deciding to just put the price of things up because they want more money from you. It's that the actual money that you're getting paid in is worth less. Like you said, it's like the cost of money, isn't it? And people are drowning and they don't even realize they're drowning. When I talk to people about Bitcoin, it's very much anybody that's heard about it, younger people especially, have this kind of crypto mindset where it's like, oh, you buy this thing and it goes up 4,000% and you become a millionaire overnight. And it's like, Bitcoiners don't need Bitcoin to go to the moon. We don't need that. But if you're on a ship and everything, this ship is sinking, all you need is a life raft that's going to keep you afloat. And for me, at the very basic level, that's what Bitcoin is. Everything else is going to sink.
Yeah. Yeah. Government debt is exploding and going to lead to a huge demand for something. The world is drowning in debt. The global debt compared to the gross domestic product was in 1970 was 100%. Today, it's over 250%. And governments have no choice but to keep on printing and debasing the currencies. What people don't realize, in the last couple of weeks, the M2 money supply has come back on again. So there's a thing that we have called the M2 money supply. So the money printer is back on. What people are going to see from in about 6 weeks' time is all the prices are going to start going back up again. Yeah, they're going to start going into the supermarket. Now, the local shops, and this is where the problem is, the local shops are not putting up the prices equivalent to what the corporations are doing, because the corporations are people high level that know about money. Yeah.
And so those local businesses and small businesses are going out of business then.
Well, should we see it all the time, don't we?
Yeah,
look what's happened over the last 5-10 years. All the small businesses are going out of business because they're not in line with what's going on with inflation, the cost of money, the half-life of money. They don't know all this. They're too busy, stuck in the wheel, going around and around and around, and they haven't even got time to put their head out of the wheel. But people need to make the time. And people say they don't have time. I don't believe that at all. If you realize something is wrong, you need to make the time. People are coming home. I know they're tired, and they're putting on the TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't they learn something about what's going on instead? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sign up with somebody and start doing a mentorship or something. Yeah. Start learning about what's going on. That's what's going to benefit you more. Not sitting there watching Coronation Street or putting on the football. Yeah. They're all distractions. But most people don't realize that.
Yeah.
This is a very good video here, what you're explaining. This is a senator from America. He's explaining about the money printer.
This is what happens when you have a quantity of something, then you add more to it. This is dilution. The principle is so simple that a child can understand, and you can create this little science project at home. Sorry, you can have your tea back. But the principle is called dilution. And when you print $5 trillion and you put it into the economy, you have diluted the value of the money. So for instance, if you had a minimum wage at some amount and somebody was making minimum wage and they were still making minimum wage after this money was printed, they actually are making considerably less in terms of real dollars. It's dilution. So the $5 trillion that we printed, I would argue, is the primary source of inflation. You know, we can say, well, eggs went up because feed went up, fuel went up because there's a war in Ukraine. You can find a lot of excuses for various different industries. But what is the probability that every price went up all at the same time? You can't blame them on specific supply chain problems. The thing
how do you explain the global?
Yes, I'm glad you asked me that, Professor Raskin. Because they did the same thing in Europe. They did this everywhere. They printed their own equivalents of the Federal Reserve and treasuries, created their own money out of thin air. Mm-hmm. It may be the only thing that saved our dollar is that everybody else did the same thing to their currency. And so the question is, right now we're coming up on the debt limit. Why isn't anybody proposing to print more money? Why aren't the economists proposing to print more money? Because it is poison. When you print money, it is poison to our economy, and it is.
There you go. That's Senator Massey from America. Yeah, he gets it. He done his homework. He's probably one of the only senators that has really done his homework on money. He understands it. The professor there didn't even know. You know what I mean? See, a lot of people don't know about this. A lot of financial people don't even know about this. A lot of our policymakers, a lot of people in our government don't know about this. Most people don't know.
That's one of the things that I found especially interesting about Bitcoin, because I had kind of done, well, I'll tell you where I came from into Bitcoin. I came from stocks and shares. So I had a plan to retire early, and it was through stocks and shares, saving enough and then using compound interest and building up a nest egg and then being able to live off the interest. And that was kind of thinking about maybe getting like between 7 and 15% interest from the stock market. And so when I started looking at Bitcoin, I was being told that the stock market was broken and that all these stocks and stuff that I thought were growing, actually, like you said, they weren't keeping up with the cost of money. So I kind of buried my head in the sand for a long time because I didn't want Bitcoin and what people were saying about Bitcoin to be true, and all this stuff about inflation, because it meant that everything that I'd worked maybe 2 years at that point and everything that I'd learned was completely wrong. And I would have to start from square one again. And eventually I had to look at it, and Bitcoin humbled me. And I'm so lucky that I was able to go back to square one and to learn actually all about this stuff. But the thing that I found interesting was it was just normal people who were learning about Bitcoin, and it was a roots movement. It was from the ground up. And then you learn about how Bitcoin came into existence, in the fallout of the 2008 financial crash. And Satoshi Nakamoto he seen the systems being rigged and unfair, and he didn't want people lost their businesses, their houses. Some people even ended up committing suicide over this, and the bankers got big fat bonuses. So I think that was a big, massive component in the creation of Bitcoin. And then what we seen was, just the everyday person, the average person was learning about Bitcoin and improving their life. And we seen the institutions didn't have a clue. The banks didn't understand it. Governments didn't understand it. And for the first time, it was the little guy like me and you that were front running them, and we were ahead of them. And there's nothing, like you called money technology. There's never been a technology like that in the history of humanity that I know, where the little guy got to put his hand in and grab as much as possible first. And now you have people like, now you have Bitcoiners teaching and trying to educate senators and banks, people like yourself. I was talking to one guy and he was saying, yeah, I had orange pilled him, and he was talking about, maybe I'll sell some Bitcoin to buy some property. And I was like, I think that's a really bad idea, because I know people that are property investors that are selling their properties to buy Bitcoin, and it's to get your head around what this thing is and how valuable Bitcoin is very hard, because still have that fiat mindset. But the senator said something there was very important. It's poison. Fiat money is poison. And if you hold on to fiat money, you're holding on to poison. And I see that even in food, like the degradation of the quality of the money. Since the money system was broken and we started using broken money, we've seen the quality of our food's gone down, the quality of our housing, the quality of our healthcare, everything in life, the quality has gone down, and it can all be linked back to the broken money system and that poison. And I see Bitcoin as the cure to that. And you're probably the same, yeah?
Yeah. But it takes time for people to learn about that. It's not going to come in a 1 hour conversation or a 1 hour Zoom like this, watching a Zoom. You need to keep on watching. And the only way to do it, I'll be honest with you, is to get on board with a mentor and start learning with somebody. That's the only way. Invest in yourself. That's what people need to do. And
that's what I did, yeah.
Invest in yourself and start learning. Or else, well, people have two options. They can keep on doing what they want to do and what they've been doing for the last 10 or 20 years, or they can find a new way. Bitcoiners have found a new way, and we found a way how to protect ourselves, and we have our insurance, and we have hope for the future compared to what everybody else has. Yeah.
And I think that's a common thing with Bitcoiners. Once you find Bitcoin and you understand it, automatically you have more hope for the future, and you stop thinking about getting to the weekend or what I'm going to do this month. And people have this mindset where they earn money and they want to spend it as fast as possible because they can feel. I think they can feel that they're not able to save it. It doesn't buy them as much stuff in the future. So once you become a Bitcoiner, you understand that your money actually goes up in value over time. People start to think more long term. They become more hopeful because they see that they have something that, I suppose Bitcoin is hope. They have something that is always going to be there. So like if I didn't know that Bitcoin was a solution to this stuff, I wouldn't tell anybody about the broken money system or about inflation, because what would be the point? But the point is that there is a solution, and all you have to do is maybe read a book or listen to a podcast and just take a look.
Start doing your work. Start doing your work and put a few hours into it and jump on board with somebody or get a mentor or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it does take time. This is a little graph here for the currency devaluation since the year 2000. The source of this is from the Fed, the Federal Reserve, and the World Bank. So I'm not making any of this stuff up. The euro has gone down in value by 73% since the year 2000. The British pound has gone down by 75%. The US dollar is down by 78%. if you're unlucky enough to live in South American or an African country or an Asian country, Indian rupee has gone down by 99%. The Chinese yen, minus 99%. The Argentine peso is going down by approximately 110% per year, every year. If you're in Turkey, it's going down by about 50% a year, minimum, every year. So, time to learn, or else keep on doing what you're doing and keep drowning. That's what I say. 10-year Treasury returns. This is a graph from the 10-year Treasury returns. The 10-year is suffering really, really badly. They're having a big problem in the US trying to get people to buy these treasuries for 10 years. So they're going to have to start thinking outside the box. What are they going to do? The last 3 years has been a disaster for the 10-year bond. Another thing, this graph for the total asset returns shows a lot of high-end asset returns that your pension is being invested in. High net worth people buy all these things. A lot of normal people are out there buying gold. But look at gold. Remember the number, 20%. Year on year, you have to be growing. On average, gold is annualized at 4.5% a year. So if you're holding gold and you think that's going to help you, there's the numbers. You need to be growing by 20% a year. This is 4.5%. You're actually drowning. There's only one thing on that graph that's keeping people the head above water. Only one thing. Look at Bitcoin. Annualized 147% a year. People need to do the maths. Your property isn't working. Your gold isn't working. Your silver isn't really working. Yeah? Putting the cash in the bank, you're dead. So what else is there to do? People, your audience needs to start doing their homework and quickly. Yeah? So my money is changing and it's changing soon. We currently use fiat currency. In October, the EU is looking to start implementing the new system called the CBDC, the Central Bank Digital Currency. Yeah? I'm going to play this next video and then we're going to wrap it up, more or less. Can you hear that?
On your second point,
Yep.
I tend to share your views. Nature doesn't like vacuum. And we started working on the digital euro way back. Actually, when I started my term 5.5 years ago. And I'm not claiming, parentality on the digital euro because my colleague Benoit Cœuré had already committed a speech on this matter before I arrived. But I certainly carried on with that project, and subsequently Fabio Panetta on the board and then Piero Cipollone, who has replaced Fabio, have taken the lead together with a very, very good team, which is focused on accelerating the pace and hopefully campaigning enough with all the stakeholders, meaning European Parliament, meaning European Council, meaning European Commission, so that we can eventually, not put to bed, but put to reality this digital euro. The deadline for us is going to be October of 25, and we are getting ready for that deadline, but we will not be able to move unless the other parties, the stakeholders, as I call them, Commission, Council, and Parliament, actually complete the legislative process, without which we will not be able to move. And I think it is critically important. And it seems to the agnostic or the skeptics, it seems to be more relevant and more of an imperative now than ever before, both on the wholesale and on the retail level, both.
Okay, so there you go. About 10 days ago, that came out from the European Central Bank. You won't see that on your RTE News or your BBC News, but that's what's happening. October of this year, they're looking to implement it. Yeah. So any of the skeptics out there that are saying it's not going to happen, or fiat currency will be around till the next 10 years. Yeah. And there's even, Connor, people in some of the Zooms that we've been on that are still talking about that.
Yeah.
They have no idea. But
yeah.
the thing is, I'm ready. The people that I train are ready. We know how to protect ourselves. So,
So for anybody that has zero Bitcoin or zero Satoshis, I used to tell them, watch a video or read a book and learn about what it is. But now what I tell them is just buy some. It's so easy to buy it now. I think you can even get it in Revolut. Just buy it. Buy a little bit, and then once you have it, then start learning about what you have. But don't wait to get some. Don't wait. Just start buying and then start educating yourself. Or if you need to reach out and find somebody that's going to help you along your journey, do that. Like, you're never going to make a better investment than in yourself. You said so.
yeah, I learned that in 2017. So when I started investing in myself in 2017, I didn't know what that was, what that meant. And I haven't looked back since then.
That's what I did.
Most people invest in their businesses, in their cars, in their houses. They don't actually invest in themselves.
Yeah.
Completely different thing.
And it's the one investment that will give you infinite return.
Yeah.
And just going back to even people that are not understanding what money is. It's like most people work like 80,000 hours of their life for this thing, and nobody stops to say, what actually is this? And that's all we're saying is maybe you're spending 80,000 hours working, maybe spend 100, even 10 hours understanding what it is, because it's going to serve you.
Definitely.
That's a brilliant presentation. So hopefully somebody can get something out of that.
Hopefully.
And understand the problem, because that's the best way to explain it, is to show people that there is a problem, and then they'll want to look for the solution, which we know is there's nothing better than Bitcoin for solving this problem. We'll talk a bit about the Bitcoin Ireland conference. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, I co-founded the Bitcoin Ireland conference in 2022. It's been running since 2022. We have hundreds of people that come to it, speakers from all over the world. It's running again on the 24th of May, 2025 in Dublin, in the Green Isle Hotel. And people can get a ticket from www.bitcoinireland.eu and go in and find out a little bit about it. And just get a ticket. It's very affordable. The tickets are. Come, spend the weekend there. We're all going to be there for the whole weekend. We're taking over the whole hotel. People can come, they can book a room as well, get a ticket. The main conference on Saturday, networking on Friday, and then Saturday the main day is. And yeah, get a ticket, come and join.
Yep, I'll be down there with the family. So I was there last year, and it was, I think it was actually last year when I kind of got the idea into my head of wanting to do something in Bitcoin, because at that stage I understood it and I could talk to people, but it's like I want to be more active and help people understand this. I think it was actually at the conference when the seed was kind of planted in my head of doing this podcast. So it's good that you're on as the first guest. But yeah, I'll be there, and if anybody wants to come along, I'm sure I'll fit them in the car. There'll be a spare seat or two.
Yeah,
welcome to join me, because that's the best way to learn about something is by getting into a community, because everybody's in the same boat. There's going to be people there that have, that are OG Bitcoiners that have been there from 2008, and you're going to have somebody that's maybe just wanting to learn before they've even bought any. And it's a great, like, I've heard somebody saying that, Bitcoin is like the world's greatest football team with the biggest supporters group, and everybody loves everybody, and we all want everybody to do well. It's like the perfect community. So it's great. It's great to get down, and I'll probably go to. I'm thinking about going to a few different European ones this year as well, just to reach out and connect with people, and even meet people that I can have on here as guests.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about going. Was it Switzerland? Maybe at the end of the year.
Yeah, we're looking to go to Lugano in Switzerland, Plan B, and maybe even Prague. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one in Prague, BTC Prague as well.
There's Amsterdam as well.
There's Amsterdam, yeah. I've been to Amsterdam. I went to Madeira last year. I like going to them myself as well. I like to go to at least one a year. And but we'll be there. Yeah.
It's a massive part of your life now, Bitcoin. So would you say that Bitcoin has changed as a person? Like, how different is your life now with Bitcoin than it would have been without Bitcoin?
Yeah. It's totally changed my life. My life has totally changed. Bitcoin changes you. And anybody that comes across Bitcoin over time, it will change you. People will see the change for themselves. As I said, it's given me my insurance for the future. It's given me a lot of hope for the future. I see the whole world in a completely different way. Yeah. And we're getting into a new industry. What most people don't realize is that Bitcoin is an industry, right? It's an industry and it's a protocol as well. There's a new industry being built out of the whole Bitcoin ecosystem. Imagine the industry that was built out of when they discovered oil. Massive industry. Gasoline, massive industry. Steel, massive industry. That's what Bitcoin is. Imagine the industry that was built on top of the internet.
Yeah, that's what it's like. It's a completely new industry. There's going to be new jobs and everything coming out of this. So it's like AI's the biggest thing happening at the minute, apart from Bitcoin. And those AI agents are going to take jobs from people, and they're going to be paid in Bitcoin. So
Yeah.
it's not just
They,
about
they, they, want, they don't want fiat currency.
no.
They'll want some type of digital something.
It's
And the
not just
Satoshis, that's what they'll want.
it's not just going to be jobs for coders and people like that. It's going to be a whole new industry. So the sooner you can learn about this thing, people could learn about this, start learning about this today, and they could end up working in this industry for the rest of their life. Doing something that they love. So yeah, it's brilliant. I suppose I'll let you go on here because I know you're a busy man. You have stuff to do. So thanks very much, Lawrence.
Yeah, thanks for your time anyway. Hope it turns out well.
Great, thanks for coming on. And if I don't see you before the conference, I'll see you at the conference, and we'll have the crack then. So brilliant. Yeah, we'll wrap it up. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Good man.
Talk to you soon. Cheers.